Israelis. I am here. How you doing? Yeah, I had to do some stuff. So just give it a few minutes, then I'm gonna start talking. So yes, everybody's seen the Michigan protest. I watched it 2 weeks before, and I'm just gonna say one answer. Wow. 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 That was my reaction. Wow. For everything. Because like a lot of the people don't know is that stuff they're reviewing now and they're hating are the stuff that always been there. It's nothing new. You just gotta scroll through some books, verify the years, everything like that, right? So apparently this guy, Jake Lang, decided he wants to visit Texas. Well, I am about to step into the world full of Israeli Jews, which is a new experience for me, and I'm ready for it, and bring back whatever I discover as a Muslim over there from America and how I'm treated, because I know many want to know that experience. In fact, many asked me like, oh, when you got an invitation, did you say yes to it? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, you should reject it. You should reject it. I'm like, why would I want to reject it? What's the concept of rejecting? Why would I want to do that? So they're like, I don't know. Have you seen the Israelis' culture and things like that? Well, I'm like, well, every country has its culture. Name one country that matches with the United States of America. Iranians, whether you're Iranian Christian, Iranian Muslim, Iranian whatever, Iranians don't match with us. Yes, there's Iranian Americans who moved there a long time ago who blended with our culture. That's another story, right? So I had many people ask that. However, I am not satisfied of leaving Texas and knowing Jake Lang is coming to my state and doing this mess in my state. Now imagine if I'm in Israel and I see Jake Lang, the chaos he creates in Texas, and let the Texas know how they feel for suddenly Muslims. Someone who's been here since age 18, well, him being what? Gee, I don't know, he's 29? I'm 38. I've been here. I've seen what's new. I even know from old to finish what closed. Like my favorite restaurant, Texas, right? It was owned by Mongolians, right? And I used to go there all the time from my high school to college, everything, and go there. It was called Genga's Grill. It was my favorite Mongolian restaurant. In 2025, it's no more. I'm a little depressed about it because I used to go there often and I used to love their Mongolian bowls. But they don't do that anymore, do they? Well, that's how time period is too. What's there today is not there tomorrow. I mean, yeah, what's not there today is not going to be there yesterday. Like when my cousin came from New York, I asked him how many new restaurants did New York update, and he told me a lot of New York's stuff has updated. Hi, Instagram ID, please. Oh, I'll give it to you in a second. Yeah, I'll give it to you in a second after my stream. It's in my share links on top, but I'll give it to you. How you doing? I'm from Texas, and I'm here to stream a little bit about, well, our new buddy that's coming into sound, Jake. Jake, what should I say about Jake? Okay, Jake, I'm going to start off with the basics about Jake. So Jake was an early Trump supporter from 4 years ago, and he got into some disagreement with the police officers, started beating up cops, doing things, wearing a black mask on his face, and decided to just attack police officers. President Trump had to get him out. Okay, he had a beard, he had everything, and then don't get me wrong, guys, I support Israelis, but I need to say this, okay? I need to say who Jake is. It's not because he's Jewish, it's because of his habits. His habits freaking me out, and I do not want him here. Okay, so he identifies himself is as Messianic Jew. Okay, that's no problem. Be a Messianic Jew. That's no problem, buddy. You're a Jew. Hi, hello, how you doing? Nice to meet you. No problem. The problem is, what are you doing? Why are you protesting in a mask, beating up police officers, and that you went to prison? You went to prison for that. And now, a few years later, he changed his identity and took off his beard, suddenly stating himself as a Christian. Now, how long ago was that? That was only, like 3 years ago? You can't change your identity that fast. It takes people 8, 9 years. It takes people at least 8, 9 years to change an identity. Within 3 years, you decide to change your identity and telling everybody that I'm a Christian when your public post is out there for everybody to see. You went to prison. You've been had 13 charges. You went to prison that the president had to help you get you out. And everybody knew you were a Jew. I'm sorry, but freaking people out in this time and suddenly taking off your beard, holding a cross, and telling everybody, oh, I know what the Christian nation means. You ask him about the laws, he knows nothing. Ask him what the American Constitution stands for. Ask him who has been here since the 1930s. He doesn't know nothing. Ask him what states have transformed yesterday till today. He don't know nothing. Now you tell me, if somebody doesn't even know that much information as an American, what could he possibly tell you? What will he tell you? Anything? Now I'm going to go on this trip being around Jews, welcoming Jews, and I'm going to watch my state get sabotaged by this weirdo moron who sabotaged Michigan. Michigan's history is like almost 90 or more years old. For decades. It's 70 decades old. 70 decades. I was shocked to myself because, you see, about Michigan, I know many people are mad at me, like, oh, there's so many Muslims over there. I'm like, I know they're there, but how long have they been there? It just kept bothering me. I'm like, why aren't they under arrest yet? There has to be something behind the doors. That's why you investigate. That's why you have a police to investigate the case. So I'm like, okay, that does it. I'm going to read about Michigan. And I did. I read about Michigan. It's freaking 70 decades old with people living there. 70 decades old. Now, if I were to make a stream about people of Michigan, rather it's a Michigan Christian, Michigan Muslim, Michigan Jew, it's just going to look at me like I'm a retard as a Muslim because I didn't study enough. But I did. There are citizens there who've been there for 70 decades. It's like telling what restaurant will be there today and what restaurant doesn't exist in Michigan anymore. That's the same thing when I asked my cousin when he visited me from New York for OSCON that, hey, what restaurants closed in Albany, New York? And he tells me today, compared to where I lived, about like 5 new Persian restaurants, many other new restaurants. And I'm like which ones? What about Friendly's? That's like my from childhood when I was like, a teenager in New York? Friendly's? And I'm like, is Friendly's still in New York, still open? He's like, there's some Friendly's still open. But my favorite restaurant in Texas closed that I grew up at, didn't I? Genga's Grill. That was my favorite. Genga's Grill does not exist anymore in Texas. That's what I'm trying to point out. So this guy coming to Texas saying that he's going to lay a protest before Christmas without having to understand there's many people in Texas. What are you going to do? Claim that they're all freaking Muslims? There's the Mexicans, Latinos, Hispanics, blacks. I met many blacks, many different type of Christians, atheist people who don't do anything. Indians, Texas has it all. Now, if you were to march in Texas without having to understand how old it has this shit been there, you're going to look like a maniac. Maybe it's been there before you were even born. How crazy is that? Some of that shit is old before we were even born. We just got to read. And he's going to bring his cross to Texas when he's not a Christian. He's a Jew. I have many Jewish friends, but it's important to understand you cannot lie. Don't lie or make your own assumptions without reading. I just can't come in the blacks in my face. The F, I just come in black. I have many black friends, bro. Black people are cool. I have whites, blacks. I have it all. There's nobody I'm not friends with. I have it all. So no reason to be embarrassed about that. My old lady that I know, we actually met in a medical school. And me and her, we talk every day. We debate every day when she's an older Christian, black Christian. And me and her debate every day. She's like, what the hell did you find today? What the hell did you research today? I'm like, I don't know yet. My brain's tired. I didn't research anything today. And she literally calls me like every day when she's a retired teacher. I'm half her age. And she will call me every day that, hey, what did you find? Or what did you research? Come on, tell me. And I'm like, oh, this is all I found so far. I'm sorry. So I know, but why are you bringing your studies when you don't know American history. There's many portions of America, many portions, and I exposed that on X today on my Holyhood content. There's many portions of America. Before, after the British Empire came the West Empire. Who all came? Many Americans, many Latinos, many Hindus, many Jews, many other people. The natives were already here. When did the Hindus arrive? When did the Muslims arrive? All back to the West Empire days. And all, you just read your way down, whatever history book you find. Now, through that, of course, everybody had a role play. Read all the way time up to Thomas Jefferson. What did Thomas Jefferson allow? What did George Washington allow? What did all those leaders allow time to time to time? Hello, America. These are famous names. Thomas Jefferson, George Washington. Every freaking American knows that. Who were they? They were the leaders to really help out America. What needs to be here? What don't needs to be here? How to set up America? Everybody had a play. Everybody had a play. Now, if you take a geography book and suddenly go on streets, oh, we're America now, we're America now. But what happened to America yesterday? Nothing changed. We're still Americans. You just gotta read how old everything is. Yes, textbook changes. I've seen people tell me in colleges that every 4 or 5 years, college educations change, high school educations change. I had somebody tell me that in medical school. In fact, when I used to work for a medical office, right? And this owner, she was in charge of me, and her new admin assistant's like, we need new textbooks. And that's when I learned that, okay, maybe you do need to change textbooks. I didn't know that. I didn't know that America changes every few years its textbook. That was a very new discovery for me. So when I sat there, her admin assistant asked that, how old are these textbooks? And I looked it up. I'm like, well, these ones are from the 1960s. These ones are from the 1970s, like all these medical equipment studies. She's like, well, colleges change textbooks every 3 to 4 years. So I'm like, what are you trying to say? She's like, in order for people to come to the medical school, the admin needs new textbooks. And that was a discovery for me. So imagine if colleges, schools change every few years textbooks. There's so much history out there that the newer kids are learning compared to the kids who graduated in old school, right? They know newer history than you do because America changes textbooks. And I did not know that. That was a shock for me. I'm like, I didn't know America really started to change, like, a lot of the stuff. Like a girl I seen in like Sugarland, right? I asked her, you in elementary school now, right? And I asked her, do they still teach you the Holocaust? Compared to what I learned, that's what I graduated from. She's like, some of it, yeah. We still learn some of the Holocaust today. Now, this is going to be a twister, right? What if a few years after the Holocaust turns out to be something about the Palestinians? That's when you know this is a history change. These are new textbooks, new education, not the current education from all the way from the past till now. This is new education that people are launching into schools. That's why I guess I would say if you have anything from the 1990s, like even just old reading books, keep it, man, because the newer age people, they don't know that stuff. You ask somebody like, I remember my days. I grew up on the Babysitters Club and the American Girls reading books, right? The newer kids, they're probably not going to know that stuff. They're really not. Those were my books, my favorite childhood books. I used to grow up. If I were to find them in the library today, I still take it because I like their books. But today's society, that's another story. So this guy, Jake, right? He goes up in Michigan. He does spray paint. And a few days before that, he literally said that he's gonna go in Michigan and protest. You think for a minute, okay, we get scared when we do protests because when you protest, if something's too political, people can fire you from your job. That's why I never went to these type of protests because my brother's like, oh no, I can lose my job. What if I get in trouble? So I never participated in a single protest in my life. I exposed research so people can read for themselves. I posted sources, whatever I find of history, whatever I can, so people can have a better understanding. But an actual protest, no, no, because once you're found in there, and I've even asked this to an American Jew. I'm like, you seem to know the politicians a lot. I'm like, you know about Israel a lot. You know about American society a lot. Why don't you really do these things? And he told me the same thing when he works for an Indian company. He told me that, no, I'm afraid. What if somebody fired me? Things like that. So this guy, I just look at him. If normal people are that freaking afraid to go to a protest, what the heck are you doing over there? You just came out of prison. You have 13 charges. You chopped your beard and saying everybody you're a Christian, and still those charges are not cleared up yet. What are you doing? And you recently made an announce on the media, scratch and sniff. You recently just made an announce on media that you're going to come to Texas? Texas, without any verification. What is old in Texas? What's been there in Texas? And what's new in Texas? You know nothing. You were in Florida. You were running for Senate in Florida, and you didn't make good success, so you didn't make it that far. Then you jump all the way into Michigan, go on streets, hiding your original identity that you got convicted from because of your own crimes. I mean, I've seen good Jews. I'm not saying Jews are bad guys. I've seen really good Jews. But if you're going to go over there and do this type of shit, of course, go on the media. Oh, guess what? I am a Christian. But your old picture literally have you beard up. It says your 14 charges, counting this, what you just did. The governor literally said that if you do this again, I'm going to have you arrested. That's another mark on your record. Wow. Wow. Very constitutional-like. Very constitutional-like that you don't say why you do this shit. Normal people are not going to give you a job. Normal people are not going to hide you anywhere because the shit is not allowed. And why it's not allowed? Now people are going to be like, why it's not allowed? It's freedom of speech. Because the shits that's always been there from the early decades of hundreds of years ago, what could you possibly make it change? I told you, there were restaurants that from the 1990s in Albany, New York, some of them are not there anymore, and there are newer restaurants. Now, I don't know which ones are new, but my cousin told me there's whole new restaurants. There's new apartments coming today. Now, some new apartments coming today. I seen Baybrook Mall, right? I love the apartments by Baybrook Mall, right? And that place changed its title for the apartments 3 freaking times in front of my eyes. 3 times! The models of the apartment, the name of the apartment, everything. So the shit people do often. If somebody's going to say, oh, it's taken over, no, I'm telling you. I didn't even know who owned that property. But it was changed 3 freaking times in one location. The first one was Grayson. Before that, they labeled it something else. Third time, they labeled it something else. From white, it went to blue and all remodeled. Now, you think for a minute, but it hasn't even been 1-2 years yet. You changed it? They changed it. Nobody have a clue what the hell happened, who changed it, who's behind it, who's the investor, but we don't know. It's changed. Highway 3 apartments. I used to live over there where Highway 3 used to be. Hey, why are you? No, I'm about to go to Israel, but imagine I'm going to be over there. I am going to be a little bit frustrated to come back because I live in Texas. And I'm going to Israel to see a whole bunch of people. But if I know somebody is coming here, and there's a saying, you can either give a good impact, like bright impact, or you can give a negative impact to people. And when I return, I can tell you one thing, that certainly isn't good for me. I don't know what he's going to educate behind my back. I mean, he had something on the people of Michigan. Well, media says 100, but historically he only had 50. And all of the Michigan citizens who made the statements, they were watching him. I'm going to post the governor. He has like a white beard, the governor. He's a white man. And he literally said it, that, okay, please do not cause trouble here. Protests should be like, for example, you have a crew. Here's my table. I want to offer people speeches to say. I want people to have something to say about the country. That's fine. But don't do any violent actions. Because as Americans, we are going to be responsible for our own actions. Nobody's going to come to court with us. Nobody's going to come to prison with us. Nobody's going to come to jail with us. It's always us that gets asked the question that, hey, why'd you do this shit? Sorry, I just joined with the protest. Sorry, I just joined. The Michigan one, I monitored that thing 2 weeks before Jake actually went. Okay? So here's what made his situation even harder. What he did is he burned the Talmud and he burned the Quran, right? Now, you know, when you do something like that, whether you live thousands of miles away or you live local, people note that shit, right? And it's like setting people on a fire without a reason, right? Okay? We see people all the time we don't like. It's best just not to talk to them, but we don't want harm for them either, right? That's normal life every day, alive, right? So he set it on fire. Then 18th, he went to the protest when it turned out to be he's a Messianic Jew and holding the cross, and many Christians yelling online that that's a Jew, that's a Jew, that's a Jew, that's not a Christian, whatever. I'm just like still monitoring the show. I'm like, let's go. Still, so it turned out he had 13 charges already. This is going to be his 14th one. And President Trump got him out about like 4 years ago because he beat up a police officer. Him and some police officer got into a misunderstanding in a fight. So he beat him up. He wore like a big black mask on his face. And he started to beat up the police officer, right? And I tried to investigate that shit. Like if I could find a full footage, what he says and versus what the news media say, right? Of course, him on his page is going to be like, oh, I'm innocent. Anybody would say that. Why do criminals? If I do something, I'm going to say I'm innocent, right? That's normal. So I tried to find YouTube footages, what exactly happened in the case that he was arrested about like 4 years ago. That he publicly knew that people knew that he was Jewish. Now, 5 years later, because of prison or whatever he was in, he chopped off his beard and started saying that I'm a Christian. Now, I wish we could do that. People do fraud every day. They can change their name, change their plastic surgery face and say there's something else. That nobody converts within few years, like 4 years, man. That's illusional. There's criminals out there every day who change their identity, cheat the system, do shit every day just to escape their crime. That's disillusional, okay? Converting means you convert after 8-9 years. But if you were already convicted 13 crimes and you wanted to escape those crimes, and his real name, the funny thing, his name is Edward. How funny is that? His name is Edward. So from Edward to Jake Lang and chop his off his beard and go holding a cross to Michigan just to look like he's a Christian, but he's not. And anybody who found that out, anybody, according to the country, that's illegal. That's illegal. You are lying to the country and you're hiding about your identity that you've been convicted to. Nobody's going to allow that shit. Nobody. Because the way America works, you can't even in American jobs, you can't even curse someone out. I remember when I was working, this was a lesson for me. I never ever did it again. This was my lifetime lesson and never did I do it again. First time experience is your first time lesson, okay? So I worked for Dillard's in early 2000, 19 maybe, 17. I went to Dillard's and somebody referred me to the company to work for. I was fine with what I had along with studies and stuff, what I was studying for. So I left my current job and joined Dillard's, okay? Now, my current job was at Walmart. The people were very loyal. I got along with all the managers, everything in the early 2000s of 14 around there. I used to work for them. And I had great communication to refer people, right? That's called respect. Now, when I went to Dillard's, right? Things weren't not that perfect for me in Dillard's. There were people who gave me an unusual look. And I ran into two people who I knew outside of Dillard's for a very long time. One got fired and one left for marriage, right? So I go along. Then one day we got into a couple of sceneries. I still showed respect, right? The only flaw that I did that's a lesson for me and I never did it again is pointed the middle finger, right? And I got terminated because I did that. Now, I've learned from that if you cannot even do a physical, like, curse somebody in physical hints, like point up your middle finger, that can get you fired. That's just a finger. Imagine in public, you're going to people doing spray paint and things like that. Who the heck is going to give you a job? People are going to be terrified. Then what if he does it in public? What if you do it here? And that's what I'm saying. Him coming to Texas, he's not bringing anything good for the Texas. Texas has always been loyal. I've been to many places with many type of Texas. I hang out with them all the time. I hang out with them more than I hang out with Muslims. How crazy is that? My parents are Muslims, but I hang out with more non-Muslims than I hang out with Muslims. And I know what Texas is like. You won't believe something like this happened with me. I was immature, but that was a learning point for me. Yeah, I'm serious. I never did it again. I've learned that you cannot even point your finger and you will get terminated. How could you possibly survive on streets and thinking somebody's going to hire you like that? If somebody saw your photos like that, nobody would even take you for a job, knowing in a job you can't even lift your own finger an inch. You'll be fired. Fired. That's the only experience I had, because all I didn't curse anybody. It was a girl who didn't like me, like as a personal preference. She always had like a personal issue with me. I was okay with everybody else as the girls around me who worked in my department, everybody, and exchanged numbers and did lunch or whatever and bought lunch to the people in Baybrook Mall. So, but the dilemma is that when you see shit like this happening and you fucking realize, oh God, yes, I told you there was nothing I can do. She literally gave me threats when all I wanted was my scanner back. She took it without privilege. She took my scanner and I'm looking all for it. And the manager gave a responsibility that whoever scanner is part of the department, your responsibility is to put it back. Now my department scanner was missing and I'm looking for it. Where did it go? And her manager was not here. And her manager kind of broke the rules. She went off work hours to pick up an employee, which you're not supposed to do. But I still kept the secret anyway, that, okay, you're going, you want to go pick up your friend, you're friends with the employee, go ahead, right? So I said that anyway. I'm like, you go ahead, right? So the manager, even keeping her secret, she started to give me threats. Like, oh, I can just have you like gone or whatever, but you have my stuff that my department's responsible for. My scanner. I need my scanner or I'm going to get in trouble. That's all I did, ask for my scanner. And then when things got too much out of the line, that's all I did when people started bullying me and giving me threats. All I did is lift a finger. That one finger cost me my job. And that's when I learned that these are all myths. Whoever feel that you can survive in a protest, you must be kidding when it comes to employment. People don't even take normal cursing in employment. Just a minor thing. They don't hire you shit like that. And that's the thing that my brother was afraid from. He was saying that if you go to these protests, no, I can lose my job. And that's when I already experienced something like that. I did. I lost my job. All I did is lift up my finger when it wasn't even my case. I was just getting the stuff back that rightfully belonged to my department. My first and last lesson. And never again. Never again I did this shit. Ever. These are all myths when people tell you that, you can get around, Oh, no, you're not going to get around. If they see shit like that, people won't hire you. And Jake coming into Texas, he's not bringing anything good. But now I do believe that these morals and rules are only imposed to low wages, working class, chaos. I was a student. I was only doing shitty warehouse jobs and only realized that even in government jobs, right? I know someone who makes really good money, right? Really, really good money. He's an American Jew. And he's in my server too. Even in public, great paying jobs. If you don't follow the policy, let's say you're a nurse. Let's say you're a nurse, right? That's the government job. If you break the government policies in a job, your field, they kind of mark you for it from the state, like how this is why the state job fired you. So if you do another state job it's kind of difficult to enter that field compared to what happened to your previous stars in the government field. That's the problem. That's a major problem. And that's why him coming, like, let me tell you one thing, okay? This was last Ramadan, right? Last Ramadan, right? I told my non-Muslim friend that, hey, it's Ramadan. Would you like to come take pictures with me and come to my mosque and we'll have some like meals together? And I told her to come. She told me that, no, I have work. So I'm like, are you sure you don't want anything to eat? You want me to just meet outside if you don't want to come inside? It was no problem. She was welcomed. So it's just some of this shit, it's been here. Now, if you're going to bring your propaganda to a state stating that, oh, nobody's here, and I'm here to help everybody claim a nation, suddenly this name nation, without having to understand we've been church state separate for years. It's not new. There's so many things that when I talk to Christians myself that America does, that's even forbidden in their Bible, but people do it. Tell me who follows what very accurately? Nobody. I have not one person in one religion that followed everything very accurately. Nobody does. Recently, I just seen this thing. You guys probably seen it too, right? Let me tell you a really ethical scene, right? It's all over social media. You can look it up for yourself, right? Okay, so just like how Jake changed his identity, stating he's a Christian when he's actually Jewish. You remember an Iranian Jew named Nima Yamini, right? I posted him on my reel. If you guys watch my current reel, I said it about him. So he's an Iranian Jew, and there's many Israeli Jews who disagree with their method based on how he feels for, like, different type of Ashkenazi Jews, but without having to understand. There's like, okay, for example, this is where people get mixed up. There's the Turkish Ashkenazi Jews. Their history is different. They're going to say something else. There's the Russian Ashkenazi Jews. They're going to say something else. There's the Israeli Ashkenazi Jews. They're going to say something else. There's the Iranian Ashkenazi Jews. They're going to say something else. So it is like, this is the first time I joined your live stream. What's your Instagram? I'm going to give you my Instagram. I can't open it on my laptop, but I'll give it to you. It's in my, let me see if I can access from my description box. I'll give it to you. So like, this is what I'm saying, that people need to understand that, yeah, I can't access till I'm streaming. I'm going to put in the description box and my Discord. I can give you that too. So you see, this is what people don't understand. In the world, nothing is ever going to match. But the history flows itself. It's pointless for people to suddenly claim something when they have not studied enough. There's a lot of things to understand. Now, you are arguing with an Iranian Jew being in someone Israeli. He has a different background. But then you say people need to unite. How are you going to unite if you can't even accept each other's backgrounds? That's one thing I asked my Christian friend too, that how are you supposed to unite? You won't even accept each other's backgrounds, right? So you come here and you're going to protest in Texas without having to understand that Texas already has its history. Texas has its own. And the biggest history of Texas would be, if you want to put it in a religious format, Mexicans would be considered Latino Christians, Latino culture, whatever they teach in Christianity in Latino format. So just for the reference, can you explain to me what is your background like? Oh, sure, no problem. I'll share mine. So my uncle, he moved to New York in the early 1960s, right? And my aunt came here later, and he knew all the presidents, whatever, right? All of the American leaders. So people got to know him. Later, my dad came, like, throughout time, and then my mom came, and they, like, pretty much met each other. Then all my cousins, they were all born. We came from Pakistan. I haven't met any Afghanis so far yet, but I know there's a lot of, like, Pakistanis here due to the link America has with Pakistan and military operations and military wars, whatever it does. So I was born here, and my parents were already here in the early 1960s. All my cousins were here. I would be considered a Pakistani American Muslim. Any other questions? I've been here. I grew up with this culture. I've learned all of it. I know American history. I go around Learn it more however I can. I'm in Canada. We got to have a lot of guns. I don't really know Canada history. I know a couple of friends from there, but like I know for sure there's many Afghan restaurants in Hillcraft, but I have not met that many Afghans myself as personally. I only seen the restaurants. Because one thing I said about America is that throughout time, America has always offered a lot of stuff. It never offered like one specific thing. And what people need to understand is that if you do not know the history, how did people arrive here, you're going to feel like a lost person, right? Now, this is what I told my friends, just like I told you. This is the local war. The Latinos would be the Mexicans. So you are a second generation. No, I'm not an immigrant. I was born here. I only have one passport, never changed. In fact, I went to Pakistan maybe after my marriage and maybe one time when I was like 13 years old. That's it. That's the only time I've ever seen it. I've never really understood the country culture like my uncle has. Yes, he encouraged me to like see it once in my lifetime, and I did pick up Urdu because my parents see it. But personally about the country, like personal culture and things like that, I don't know any of that. Like, how is their lifestyle living? Who do they talk to? What is their education? I don't know that because I don't live there. I grew up with this education, right? And I only know what is America's history with Pakistan. I don't know what Pakistan teaches in the country itself. Or today, if I had their degree, I would know how to count. I would know how to tell time. I would know how to read their language. Like, Urdu. I can't read Urdu. Somebody can test me in front of me. I cannot read Urdu. I can only speak it. I can't read it. That's the biggest hint. Now, in order for me to read it, I would have to go to one of their schools to know what do they teach in that language. I can only speak it, not read it. Any other questions? So that's what I'm saying. Like Jake Cumming, I can speak Urdu, but I can't read. Same. I can't read it. So Jake Cumming, it's not a good sign for Texas. I can tell you one thing. It's not. Because Texas has a lot of people. Him coming to Texas and pointing out that cross without having to understand Texas culture is two separate things. Like I said, Texas does have black people. Texas does have Mexican people. Texas, I don't think I've seen native people, but I meant Hispanic, Spanish people, many type of Indian people, and many type of Christians who've been here, right? So if you point that cross, knowing that everybody looked up your identity, you are Jewish, I'm sorry, but you're putting yourself into a mess into their culture. Just like Boston culture cannot match Texas culture. What's Boston? Boston lifestyle is not Texas lifestyle. That's something people need to understand. For example, in New York, when people, they walk on streets, they drink coffee, they enjoy the snow. In Texas, we're about like what? Lemonade on the streets, cold drinks on street, less hot weather, things like a lot of hot weather, and we go out and enjoy, right? That's Texas vibe. They prefer burgers, we prefer tacos. That's an example. They prefer burgers, we prefer tacos. Texas culture. Now, if I go to Israel, and as a Muslim, if I go, of course I'm going to learn new, and I'm going to have challenges. I'm going to have a lot of patience as a Muslim to get to know Israelis, and I would have to have tolerance for their culture. I would have to respect their culture, and I would have to find ways to blend in with their culture because that's what it's about. History's always been blend, match, blend, match, blend, match. Name one thing that's never been blend, match. Blend, match means like, okay, example, all the peoples who converted with time. They were somebody else yesterday, they are somebody else today. Blend, match. Blend, match. That, hey, you're a Latino Christian or I'm an American Christian. You get what I'm saying? So there's like a whole bunch of things, There's a lot of things to really understand. But what about the other party is not letting you blend in? Well, sometimes I've learned this the hard way. It takes people time. It takes a lot of people time. And the best win is those who have patience. If you're not going to have patience, whether you're Christian, Jew, or Muslim, let's say, I'll give an example, another one. Let's say 5 years have passed and you have not stopped fighting. And I learned this the hard way too. Anybody listening to me, I did. The friend that I got into a fight with, I would always tell my other friends that, oh, she's bad, she's this, that, yada, yada, yada. And like, she did this to me. Like, I would cry. Like, I learned from that too. I never did it again. So I would always tell my other friends, like, oh, this is... So after a couple of time, they stopped talking to me. They told me that, oh, you keep talking about this shit. This is getting boring. You keep talking about her. Well, that's what it gets like. If you keep talking about one thing for 4 or 5 years, people start to drift away because people are more... Once they find out history and they look at their leaders, and the leaders are getting on, then people do not stay in the same atmosphere. That's mission impossible. Then whoever's talking about like insulting a religion or a person or their group, it works 1 year, it works 2 years, but not more 4 years. You're going to see people drift away. Try it. Just try it. If you're a Christian or a Hindu or a Muslim on my page or a Jew, just try it. See if somebody can go on 5, 6 years talking about one thing without having people drift away from you. Just try it. And if this guy, when I come back, I'm supposed to return. And look, I just got my travel request from Israel. I'm talking to you guys today, and I just got an email from Israel today. Talking to you guys. You guys brought me good luck. Finally got my travel invitation card. Talking to you guys. But I want you guys to understand, if you live in Texas, you know the Texas laws. You know the Texas atmosphere. You know who's here in Texas and how long. If somebody suddenly comes in and barges on the street, oh, we need to do this. This is this nation. This is that nation. Forgetting that there's many people part of this nation. What are you trying to point at? Like I said, there's many people part of this nation, especially in Texas. Now, when people tell me that, Mexicans are this or that, you know why Mexicans are actually allowed in Texas? Did anybody ever thought about that? There is no other state for Mexicans except Texas. Why? Because Texas used to be part of Mexico. Now, what agreement did America make? What did it say? Even Canada. Canada was offered to be the 51st state for America, but the Canadians said no, that we do not want to be part of America. We want to keep our country a country separate. Or America gave it an offer that, hey, why don't you be the 51st country of America? But the Canadians said no. This was like last year. You remember that? You probably will remember that in Canada, right? Remember when the Americans offered you to be a state, the 51st state of America? You as a Canadian, that's recent news last year, bro. You would know this. It was offered. But the Canadians said no, we don't want to be part of America. We do not want to be part of America, and we do not want Americans running our borders. That's exactly what happened to Texas. That it's part of America and there's Mexicans here because Texas used to be part of Mexico. So whatever those Mexican people been here fraudulently, illegally, is because this land piece used to be a part of them, and they're still here. Some of them, you don't even know how long they've been here, whenever that land fight was, but they were living here. Now you're going to tell them, oh, guess what? You're suddenly illegal today without having to understand when the land was taken. How do you know how long they've been there? How do you know how long they've been living on here before this state was taken? This piece was taken. And that's what people don't want to look at. So him coming into Texas culture, without having to understand Texas culture, he's going to be making a fool out of himself. And my Christian friends, no, I have Jewish friends, but don't be fooled. He's not a Christian. He's a Messianic Jew, and I've seen better educated Jews than him. He's a Messianic Jew who's trying to forbid his identity because he's been convicted 13 charges, and he still has not got any accurate information. Will those charges be removed? He's been in prison. He's been arrested. He tried to beat up a police officer wearing a big Fredo mask. You know that Batman do, right? Bane. Remember Bane from Batman? That's the type of mask he had on. Bane. And he had like this baseball bat and try to bang police officers, break their windows, whatever he was a part of. It wasn't good. And that's not what Texas need. Texas want their life, their jobs, their normal life, and stay in that normal life that doesn't cost their job. Because that's what I was telling Texans, that if you make link to him, be careful about your job. You make link to him, be careful about your government jobs, because his background, it's not because he's Jewish, it's because of the crimes he's done. So how big of an impact is this going to expose and make? What do you think about it? It's every man for himself if you see him. Every man for himself. In mine's, I don't trust anyone nowadays. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm not going to point a finger at anybody. It's every man for themselves. You go to see him, just be careful if you have a really good job and you are caught on his protest, make sure it doesn't cost your job. Because normal people, if you do shit like that, they normally get terminated. You can't even curse at your job. That's a violation. That's literally a violation against no matter which company you work. Compared to, going on the streets and actually doing it just because you want to claim something without having to understand history itself. So this dude, he's bought spray paint. He bought like this thing, I forgot, was it alcohol or something? He bought like that to throw at the Quran. And the Talmud, he did it to the Talmud too, which it didn't burn too much. And then when people figured out that he was Jewish, that's when Christians started to get like really, really angry. That you're not a Christian, you're a Jew. And I was shocked too. I did not expect that from him. I didn't. So then I started to read a little bit about him. And I really didn't expect that he would give like the Jewish people a bad name. Knowing the anti-Semitism that Israel's going through. Knowing the anti-Semitism the Jews are facing. Why the hell would you, somebody as Jewish, take Jews on that path where nobody would want to trust them? Hold a cross in your hand and lie about your identity, knowing you've been had federal charges already. And you're going to hide your Jewish identity, knowing people are going to figure your photo out. You had a beard. You chopped it off just to hide your old face and keep your current face. Make it look like, oh, guess what? My name is Jake, but actually your real name is Edward. Jake Lynn Edward. People these days, don't underestimate social media and don't fall for what you see, because in the end, when it comes to your own price and you get linked to it, the world's not pretty about it. I can tell you one thing. It doesn't matter if you're Jew, Christian, or a Muslim. When it's your own faith and your own shit, people don't want to listen to that shit. All they want to know is, why the heck did you did it? Why the heck did you did it? And you're like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean it like that. And you get stuck. That's what I was telling some of my Christian friends. That let's say, as much as people are saying, oh, Muslims are terrorists, without verifying which Muslims been here, how long. Maybe they're here for a reason because of warfare. Remember the Vietnam War? Anybody ever studied the Vietnam War? So I remember when in the Vietnam War, there were many civilians who came to America. I have family in Canada. I know many people from Canada. A friend of mine, his name is Matt Tash. He's also from Canada, and he's a YouTuber. I talk to him sometimes. He's in my Discord community, Matt Tash. He's a really fun guy as a Canadian. But I love Canada. It's very, very beautiful. Very. But what was I going to say? Dang it, I forgot what I was telling you guys. But yeah. Okay, so this is what I was saying, is that I remember this guy, right? He was on Newsmax, and he's from Canada, actually. But then he started being, the Vietnam War. I'll review that, and then I'll review this next thing I was going to tell you. So the Vietnam War, everybody go to Google and type the Vietnam War and look up how many civilians came to America after the Vietnam War. That's like a very famous war with the Americans and Vietnam. And you will see Many civilians ended up showing to America after the Vietnam War. Same now. Even when America got into a war with Iraq, many Iraqis showed up. Or Afghanistan, when Afghanistan wasn't allowed, but the Pakistani civilians were allowed due to the war business, and Iraqis arrived because the support of Iraq, things like that. So when people see suddenly now, oh, like, why Syrians are here, why are these guys are here, read why are they here. Maybe it's because of the war. It's not the first war that America has participated in. Many wars unlike this. Refugees have been, there you go. All you need to know. Every time America got into a war, there's always refugees here. It's not a new system. People look at it like it's suddenly new or a takeover. No. American history, it's been like this. Try from the Ottoman Empire and read all the way down when America came into the picture. Refugee rotation, refugee rotation, refugee rotation. From Ottoman Empire to the British Empire to America. My family's been moving from 4 generations. I think the best place I've ever moved, and I started crying when I moved, was Canada. I love Canada. I'm not gonna lie. If we were to move again, I probably would choose Canada. I love Canada. I love the snow. I love the land features. I love the landscape. Everything about Canada over America. If I'm forced to come back here, my grandparents had to move from Pakistan. Canada's number 1, guys. I'm going to say it. If anybody is listening to me, Canada has its own vibe. Never underestimate Canada. If you go to Canada, the best 2 places to go is British Columbia, Vancouver, Mount Biltmore, and all these places are pure land. Pure land. You would love to see it. You would love to explore it, right? All that shit. And that's what I inspire Alberta's nights too. So that's what I want to tell people. Like, I'm going to try talking from here while my camera's on. So I want to act like, oh, but this is new. No, it is not new. It's always been there, and it's always going to be there. And people don't want to listen to that shit. Let me give you this. Chat filter, community moderators, all messages. Can I chat? Can you give it to me on here? Dang it, it's not letting me chat. I'm going to give you my Instagram. Is it going to let me chat on here? No, it's not. So let me try something. Give me, there we go, back. So any other questions before I close out the stream? If you guys have any other concerns or questions to ask me regarding this time, what's about to happen to Texas, you're welcome to. Because I am going to be vlogging from Israel, showing Israel. But unfortunately, Texas is going to be on alert. And I leave at the 11th, I believe. 11th or the 12th. And Jake comes on the 13th. As soon as I step out of Texas, he comes here on the 13th of December. Now you imagine, I'm watching my state from the place this guy is going to be here. Yeah, it's going to be a horrific experience for me, let me tell you. Not about that. I'm not happy about that at all. And I'm also going to give you my ex. And then I'm going to close out the stream. And I leave on the 11th, and I'll show you some photos from Israel. And I'll try to vlog if I have good internet from there. I will. But Americans, the next high alert is Texas. There's going to be a protest. And if you're smart after what I shared with you, only see the guy if you feel it's not going to cost you anything. As much as people are protesting and feel like something's going to change, nothing is going to change. This is all social media bullshit. Something that's been there from 70 years old, for example, when Mohammed bin Salman came to America, I know a lot of the people are not happy to see him, be like, oh, he's the guy from 9/11, blah, blah, blah. Try looking up Saudi and America's relationship, and you're going to find out it's more than 100 years old. Close to 100 years old. Now you think for a minute, what? When that happened? It's all about the reading. America, it has links with a lot of countries. And I know if you're India on my channel, you can understand that too. Just because you don't like Pakistanis does not mean you have link with other countries. I know India. India's like with Qatar, Saudis, and Russia, and all these places. Afghan is completely new to the club. And invest all these places. Just because it doesn't live to Pakistan does not mean India never invested with Arab countries or Iran and places like that. Hell yeah. India. That's exactly how America is. Same damn thing. You just got to read about every nation's history, the wars that America had, how many refugees came from what war, and then you will understand why refugees are here. But if you're not going to review anything, how many wars America got into and how many refugees showed up, what relation did they have, or read from the West Empire from all the way up to the Britain Empire. Start from the British Empire days through the Ottoman Empire days and read all the way down to the 1700s. And if you have like a thing, it's going to help you. Type what relationship did the Muslim countries have or who ruled over the Muslim countries. It's going to give you an answer. The British ruled over the Muslim countries. West Empire ruled over the Muslim countries. And Ottomans fought the British, okay? So the Muslim countries, they were never on their own, ever. They were always ruled by somebody. They've always been divided and they're going to remain divided. They're never going to unite because of this history. You will understand that why are people here. But if you just go on social media or unusual narratives, you are not going to understand why people are here. Now, you can choose left or right. Either you want to know why people are here, or you can just continue to support the narrative. You know what's interesting? I asked my friend this. She's a Christian, right? I had a question for her, a big one, and she went blank for a minute. Okay. Judeo-Christian is a practice, kind of like a culture, right? It's a culture thing. When I asked her that, I'm like, knowing what happened to Nima, and right now with Jake, I asked her, whatever happened to Judeo-Christian value? I thought you accepted what you do. And she told me, but no, but that he's not a Jew. But I'm like, but he's an Iranian Jew. I mean, you guys hang out with non-Jews all the time. What difference does it make? And I've seen Jews who tell me that we don't eat kosher, or they dated a non-Jewish girlfriend or a boyfriend. Does that mean they're any less? Now here we go. Jake. So many Christians shout that he's not a Christian. He's not a Christian. Get him away from us. He's not a Christian. You go blank for a minute. Whatever happened to the Judeo-Christian value? If you were to educate somebody this, they would ask you, you guys can't even tolerate one person in your portion if something goes false, right? Well, that's exactly how the Muslim world is. Muslim world, they have this divide too. Christian world do too. Who asked a question for me? Somebody has a question for me? Julie Lambert, have it. Ask your question away. I'm here to answer. Ask your question. You're welcome to respond to my answer. This is what just one of my friends told me because I was so speechless what she was saying, because what happened to Nima Yemi and so many of me Jewish friends telling me that, oh, he's not a Jew. He's not a Jew. He's an Iranian Jew. So what? What? If he says he's Jewish and he studied, who is somebody else to tell him he's not? Same for Jake. He's stating he's Christian, but so many Christians are like, he can't be Christian. He's not a Christian. He can't be a Christian. He's not a Christian. Get away. So what do you want me to do, pal? Tell me. I insist you educate me on my stream. This is what I want to know from somebody. What is this like? Because when people actually have incidents like this, people just divide. I'm serious. It's up front. I asked a very important question, okay? Yes, the question was, I was studying this, and you're welcome to respond if you feel it's accurate, okay? I'm going to throw it, and you can respond me if you feel it's accurate. So, I was studying the Romans, right? Back in the day when the Romans adopted Christianity. And I asked my friend this question. She's a Christian. I'm like, if you guys are a Judeo-Christian, then why did the Romans force the Jews to convert to Christianity? And the Jews didn't like the Romans for that when they adopted Jesus and wanted to make Christianity the official religion, right? And she's like, she didn't know how to answer that. I asked her that, but you guys are Judeo-Christian. And you were in the times of the Romans together. When you were told, as Jewish, that you need to adopt Christianity, and Christianity is the official religion of the Romans. And Jews said no. They wanted to stay Jews, so they got prosecuted for it. So that's one detail I wanted to verify if somebody can answer it for me. Then, okay, Another thing I was reading, after the Ottomans. The Ottomans is when Jews lived under the Ottoman Empire with the Muslims and the Christians with the Ottoman rule, which were mixed nations, like Russia and all these places like Iraq, Syria, places like that, and the times of the Ottomans, right? Before the state of America took birth, right? Now, when the British Empire came and the West Empire as an American came, all these nations were combined and Jews were forced to live. Now, when the state of America came in the 16th century, Jews arrived to America from these places. Now, this is what I want to understand. So I know the vision that I'm seeing is accurate. So how does this ideology work? Can somebody please, I would love to know, somebody tell me, like, how does this ideology work in history, Judeo-Christian? Because whenever I brought it up, either a Christian got mad at me or a Jew got mad at me. And they're like, that's not Jewish, that's not being Jewish, that's being Christian. Or a Christian saying, that's not Jewish, that's he's not being a proper Christian. So I get so confused. I'm like, so how does this tradition fit in and where? That's what I like to know from my fans. This is one thing I would love to know from somebody, so I can have a better understanding. Because every time somebody brings this up, either somebody gets offended and somebody do not have an accurate answer how to explain it. The only thing I can think of, this is kind of like a culture from the early days when Jesus didn't like resurrect and Jesus was a Jew. And the Hebrew Bible, it's kind of like a culture from the studies from the Hebrew Bible. But then again, where did the Romans come from? Because when that's what I get confused. Romans officially made Christianity the official religion. I was reading about that, and the Jews did not accept, so they ended up getting prosecuted. I was reading about that because they didn't want to accept over their religion. So if people can give me a better understanding, it will be useful, because right now, based on how things are about to get, and Jake's visit on the 13th while I'm out of town, you're going to see some type of weirdo reaction. People getting mad at each other about something. And Texas, I can tell you one thing, it's not all Christian. You know that there's Latinos, there's Hispanics, there's Mexicans, they're considered like Latin Christian. And you can tell Latin Christians are different from, I would say the American Protestants maybe, if I said that right. They're going to be different. So when you take the cross and walk in someone's house without having to understand every single member that's part of that state, you're going to go through some problems, man. So don't be surprised what you see for Texas. And I'm going to do my best to share some sources while I can. And I can only wish Texas the level best. I'm pretty sure every single person knows that our entire life is based on the American Constitution, American principles. We're not even allowed to go one day cursing at somebody at a normal day job. We would be fired from that. So how do you think all this shit is going to succeed? It's something to think about. I tell you, just if you go to that protest, just don't let it affect your job. That's how I'm going to put it. Any other questions before I close out the stream? And I'm going to do my best to stream from Israel, however I possibly can. And if anybody has questions for me, this is the time to ask me. Look, I'm going to post something on my chat, and you guys can check it out. And I want you to look in. So this is who he is, okay? Here he is. This is Jake. I'm going to post a link to my Hollywood page on X, and you guys are welcome to see it. Look, this is Jake. He's on my pin. Look at the pin. Click the link and you will see him. Now read a little bit about him. Don't just underestimate what you see on social media. Study about the guy. Study about him. Don't underestimate what the social media is showing you about him. He has a really big background to read into. And it's not a friendly thing. It's not because he's Jewish, it's because of his actions were wrong. There are many smart Jews. Many smart Israelis to know what's suitable and what is not a smart move to do. And so that's a dumb excuse. But I would inspire people to study about Jake before joining his protests while I'm away from Texas. And I'm not saying this because I'm a Muslim. I'm saying this because I lived here longer. I did the Texan jobs. I know the Texas policies, and I know what Texas will say yes to and what it will not. Because Texas, it has a big Jewish community. It has Mexican community. It has a Muslim community. It has a Christian community. That it's probably one of those states that everybody's welcome, just like Michigan governor said. So if you do not have a better understanding who lives in this state and since when, it's pretty risky who you're saying yes to, all because the social media wants to. So I'm going to close out this stream, and I hope if anybody has any other questions for me, feel free to ask before I close it out. And yeah, I'm going to now make preparations. Just when I spoke to you guys today, I got the Israeli invitation. So take care, guys, and I'm going to try to see if I have more updates, and watch my reels. I'm going to see if I can update more reels to give people a better understanding what's about to come if you're somebody from Texas following me or anywhere else. And it's best if you would know, because if you ever caught in a protest, it may look fun, it may look really fun just to raise your voice, but when it comes to your public job, then it's not fun. It's not fun. Because then jobs, they're afraid to hire you. So you can either have your job or just raise your voice, one or the other. That all comes under policy. So I'm going to get ready to close, and I hope everybody understands. And if you have any questions for me before I exit, let me know. All right, guys, take care. Love you. I'm going to leave a heart. Enjoy, and I'm going to see if I can give you more updates. Take care. Bye-bye.